Guys, welcome back to episode 2 of the Final Whistle podcast. And we have got our first guest. And I promised you it was going to be a very, very good one. So we've got Emerson Lehmann, who's a news anchor for WBAY-TV in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And he's a good friend of ours. And we're going to be talking all things Packers and maybe a little bit of soccer. Our football. I feel dirty saying the word soccer. Emerson, how you doing? Are you all right?
I'm doing fantastic. I feel the pressure of being the first guest. So
it's a special one as well.
Don't disappoint anybody, but so honored to be here. Thanks so much for the invite, and looking forward to a really awesome season of Packers football, man.
The irony is, I was telling my partner Lauren that I was having you on as a guest, and she was like, "The couple of times that we've met you, you've been interviewing us, and now we're going the other way around."
We're flipping it. It's fantastic.
So the reason we were when we were talking about guests and stuff like that and getting people on, the reason I wanted you to come on the show was that when we met you out in Detroit and we met you out in Green Bay, your news stories about the local area of Green Bay was so feel good and really shed like a really nice spotlight on the people in the area. And obviously we have had unbelievable news about Michael Parsons coming to the Green Bay Packers, which even international fans, people are going insane about it. So what's that like out in Green Bay? How has the whole reception been?
It's so funny, man. I was driving down the highway this morning, and there's a electronic billboard, and it says, "Welcome to America's team." Oh. And it's got the green and gold letters, so it's kind of throwing a jab at Jimmy Jones and the Cowboys with that. Like the excitement, like you mentioned, it's around the world for Packers fans. Yeah. They know how good Micah Parsons is and the difference maker that he is for a football team. And there was already a lot of excitement around this Packers team this year. You know, they're still a very young team. There's a lot of great playmakers. And you just add someone like that, an all-pro pass rusher who is going to bring that energy, that excitement, and I think fair to say that confidence to our defense, but our team as a whole. I mean, dude, it's buzzing in Green Bay. They had the press conference last night with Coach LaFleur and Micah kind of introducing him to the fan base, to the city, to the state of Wisconsin, but just – it didn't seem real. Like every group chat that I'm in, they're like, there's no way. There's no way it's actually going to happen. And then when the news broke, Adam Schefter broke the news, and it was just speechless. Yeah. Like so exciting. So really wishing him, a good, healthy season. Obviously, you want all the players to stay healthy, have a great year. That's for all the teams, right? You never want to see injuries, but just so great to see him here, and hopefully he can make a difference right away when they take on the Lions next weekend.
The funny thing is, because of the time difference, it was around 11 p.m. here when the news broke, and we were kind of getting ready for bed, and I kind of just shut up and was like, "We've got him! This is insane!" And
Lauren makes it hard to go to sleep after that.
For about an hour, sort of the NFL WhatsApp groups that I'm in was just going, "Oh my God, it's happened! Oh my God, it's happened!" Because as Packers fans, we are kind of used to free agency being a bit dull, being not a lot usually happens, but it feels like you say, young team, the organisation is just putting everything in place to say, maybe not this year, but for the 3 to 4 year window, go and win a Super Bowl and see if you can do it.
And that's the thing, right? Like I've been talking with a few people about that. That is such a big, I mean, Kenny Clark was a huge part of the Packers organization, right? He's part of the community. Like a lot of fans really disappointed to see him go. And obviously, you wish him well, but to ship off 2 first-round picks as well. I feel like that's Brian Gutekunst. It's the new president. That's their way of saying, "Hey, let's win. Like we want to go win now." And it's if you're a Packers fan, you have to be excited about that because
absolutely,
I feel like it's kind of been right. Like we made it to the playoffs. We've been there, but disappointing bounces out of the playoffs. But now it's like, okay, now's the time. So it's a it's a good time to be a cheesehead, man.
It's been a couple of months of breaking the norm, I think. Taking a wide receiver in the first round. Now we've got Parsons, and it's like there's so much excitement and confidence, especially playing the Lions in the first week, where a couple of weeks ago I was dreading that game, thinking it's not going to go too well. But this is super confident going into the game now.
So confident, and just like, it's Packers football, right? You've been to Lambeau. You know, Green Bay is the NFL's version of like a college town when it comes to the excitement and the buildup. Like, and that's not to throw shade at any other city, but it's Green Bay is so small compared to all of these other communities that have teams. So like, there's so much going on in New York. There's so much going on in San Francisco. There's so much going on in Minneapolis. Green Bay, during the fall, it is Packers football. You bleed cheese. You know, it is life here in the fall season. And it's so exciting to get another one going.
I was going to ask you because for a lot of international fans in particular, going to Lambeau, no matter who you support, feels like a bit of a pilgrimage just for international football fans because of how the history there and everything like that. But you can never quite describe Green Bay, I don't think, because when we visited as tourists, you go to Quick Trip, you go to Hy-Vee, it is Packers everywhere. There is no in between. It's just the Green Bay Packers.
It's crazy, man. It's like I grew up in Wisconsin, about an hour and a half from Green Bay, and I grew up. You and I have that connection. I love Brett Favre, so I grew up, big Favre fan. Liked watching the team, and when he left, it kind of just soured my taste for the Packers. I think I was like a middle school kid, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna follow some other people. I love Russell Wilson, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to support Russell Wilson, and I've kind of followed that along. And like, don't get me wrong, like if the Packers were playing someone else, I'd be like, okay, yeah, go. Like, I'd pull for the Pack. But if they were playing against a Russell Wilson team, it was, come on, Russ, let's beat the hometown squad. And I went with my mom. I took her to a game a few years ago for her birthday / Christmas present deal, and it was my first time at a regular season game at Lambeau. It was the playoffs game against the 49ers.
Wow.
And it started snowing. And even though the Packers lost that game, I remember standing there in the stands with my mom, and I'm just thinking, this is why people love this team. Like, this atmosphere, this passion. And ever since then, it's been, right back like, heck yeah, man, go green and gold. And then that was before I was living in Green Bay. Then I got the job up here and came up here for work. And it's just been so fun to, go to Detroit and cover the draft and have the draft then come to Green Bay and just to meet so many cool people like you and Lauren and and just so many special people, so many special memories. And it's all thanks to, the passion that there is for Green Bay Packers football. But yeah, for those fans out there that whether they're here in the U.S. or the UK or anywhere around the world, if you haven't made the trip to Lambeau, it is truly a cathedral when it comes to football stadiums. So it's somewhere you have to go.
I think the big thing that we got from the draft was just how embedded into the community the Packers really, really are. And we're lucky to have done a little bit of traveling across America, and wherever we've been, we've never seen that. Because like you say, New York, you've got your Giants, you've got your Jets, you've got the Bills, you've got so many teams that this is just special to the community, I think.
Green Bay, and I've never been to Buffalo, but just from like what I see, when you watch their games on TV, when you hear about, Bills Mafia and whatnot, I feel like that would be the next closest thing to Green Bay is that Buffalo, because again, it's another smaller city compared to the bigger markets in the league. And on Sundays, they're bleeding their blue and red when it comes to Bills football. So it's definitely fun. And you can't call it an underdog because it's the Green Bay Packers, right? they're never underdogs, but it's still it's fun to see the small market,
Yeah.
have that huge impact around the world. And like I said, that electronic billboard on the side of the road to see America's team, but in green and gold rather than the Cowboys. It was like, yeah, this is going to be a fun year.
Do you think, because obviously you're so connected to the local community of Green Bay, that with everything that the Packers are putting in place, how the excitement, what do you think would be a successful season this year? Because there's so much Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. And I saw you with Cam Newton today, where he was like, it's amazing, but the Detroit Lions are in the division, and let's not forget that. So, yeah, what do you think is success for this season, do you think?
So we made predictions on air yesterday. After all the excitement, our producer said, all right, I'm going to make you guys make a prediction on air. And I went pretty aggressive. I said 13-4.
Okay.
With a trip to the NFC Championship. I didn't say we're going to win the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
But I said 13-4 with a trip to the NFC Championship, and then from there it's kind of a wild card. And again, I'm clarifying. I think that is aggressive. Like I'm really coming off in the sense of confidence. But I think if Jordan Love stays healthy, if Michael Parsons stays healthy, we've got. I know Jaden Reed's dealing with a bit of a foot deal right now. If there's Christian Watson needs to, hopefully when he comes back, he can stay healthy. Like there's just so many young playmakers that if they can stay healthy and produce the way that they've shown that they're able to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason we can't go beat the Lions twice. There's no reason we can't, mop the floor with the Bears. There's no reason we can't there's no reason we can't win the NFC North. But again, everything has to go smoothly. Everything has to go your way. And as we see every year in the NFL, that doesn't always happen. And that's why you play the games. That's why you show up every Sunday, except now there's Thursdays and Fridays and some Saturdays and Sundays. There's football every night of the week practically. But I think that would be very successful. They have to win a playoff game this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that would be pretty unfortunate to not have that happen when you're making, when you draft Matthew Golden in the first round, when you go make this huge trade for Micah Parsons, like you've got to make a run into the postseason. If that doesn't happen, I think there's going to be a lot of frustrated Packers fans. But yeah, I made that prediction on air yesterday, and I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna say 13-4 with a trip to the NFC Championship. I hope I'm not jinxing anything. I hope I'm not. You gotta be hopeful, right? You gotta be hopeful. You gotta be confident, optimistic. I'm an optimist, so I'm going 13-4.
One of my close friends was the Detroit Lions International Fan of the Year, and I was talking to him today about the game next week, and I made a very bold prediction, and I said Jared Goff will spend 4 quarters staring up at Micah Parsons because it is just sack. And I'm convinced that's going to happen because I am also an optimist.
And like how fun to have that matchup of the two really. Like when you look at those, you have to consider the Packers and the Lions, the two favorites in the NFC North now.
Absolutely,
especially with this trade. And how fun to have that be week 1. Yeah, like it doesn't get any better than that. That is
just a bang, isn't it?
It's going to set the tone right away for the season. Really? It's going to say, here we are. And of course, Micah has a week to get acclimated, but at the end of the day, right? He's an all-pro 4-year professional. Like his job is to go tackle Jared Goff. He's gonna do that. So it's just so cool to have that be week 1 and really set the tone for what is hopefully a really successful season.
Do you think we're going to do some predictions for the month of September? But I think I mentioned to you last time when I spoke to you in Green Bay that we were really, really lucky that whilst we were there with the Packers, we met Roger Goodell. and I was extremely drunk, very drunk. And we just found out that my partner Lauren, we're having a baby in November.
Congratulations again! It's so exciting, so
and
exciting.
We just found out, and I was like, "Oh, Roger, we're having a baby. I'm going to call her Brett or Aaron." And he was like, "Oh, call her Roger." And we were having a joke. And he asked me about my story about the Packers and why I like the Packers. And he said to me, he was like, we're flirting with the idea of a team in London because we think it would be able to, the fan base is there to have a team. But the thing that I like about American football is it's American. The experience is so different to how we experience soccer over here. That's why I enjoy it. But do you think, from Americans' perspective, what do you think how do you think people would take it to maybe expanding the league internationally? Because we've got so many international games now that we've got a game in Ireland for the first time. There's rumours of them looking at Singapore and China. We've got a game in Spain. Yeah, what's that like, do you think, as an American?
That's an interesting question. It would be very fascinating to me to see how they would approach, the scheduling with the travel, that aspect of it, because we've seen it impact teams before, including the Packers, where you make that trip over there. That's a long week before, a long week of, and a long week after. And when you have a team that is dealing with that every week, I mean, I feel like almost the London team would be, let's just say if it was going to be in London, I feel like they would almost be at the disadvantage, right? Because they would be doing that trip so often where, okay, the Packers, maybe they're going once a season to do it or whatnot. But it would be fascinating. I think I'm surprised that, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say I'm surprised because Canada has the CFL, but you would think that maybe they would try, as the NBA has, as Major League Baseball has, with a team in Toronto or Montreal or something along those lines that's a little bit closer to start and then expand. But as you said it, and as you had in those conversations with Mr. Goodell, you have those London games. From what I've at least seen on TV, they sell out or close to it. There's a huge excitement for it. So I think if they could figure out a way to try and make it fair, how do you do that? Maybe I don't know how you do that. I wouldn't want that challenge as a NFL executive to try and figure it out. Like, do you come up with 4 international teams and have your own division and then work in the other games like that? That's potentially a thing. But then that makes it almost the European Football League or along those lines. It would be very interesting to. But I also, they always call the NFL or the Super Bowl champion, the champions of the world, the champions, and it's like, well, no, it's the National Football League, so they're not really the world champions. They're not. It would be very interesting. I mean, I enjoy seeing. I thought the game, for the Ireland game, was really cool. I thought the game in Brazil was cool. To see those announcements come out and to see the games over in London, that's awesome. It introduces passionate fans like yourself and the chance to go see it in person and not have to fly across the ocean to do that, right? I think it's really great to introduce people that maybe wouldn't have the opportunity otherwise to see a game and get them the chance to do it. So I love that happens, and it grows the game, and football is a beautiful game. It's great to see more people have that opportunity. But in the sense of a team over there, I guess I'm a little, how are they going to make that work to make it not just feasible in the sense of supporting a team and whatnot, because I'm sure you can do that, but just, fair for the players and keeping them healthy and things of that nature.
I maybe surprisingly, I am against it. I don't think we should have a team or a division in Europe, just because I think it's what makes the league special. it is an American game. It's not our game. And I think for us to go to experience the American culture of tailgating and the flyovers and even the American national anthem during a game, it makes the experience. And I think I said this to him. I was like, even as if there was a London team, I don't know whether I would support it. I don't know whether I would encourage my children to support it because we're Packers fans.
Yep.
And when the Bills came over here, I went to watch the Bills because I was like, yeah, I want to see Josh Allen play. We've been to see the Colts play. We've seen the Jags play. We've watched the Chiefs, the Dolphins, just to have that experience. But I think if you then muddied the water with a team here, because there was a lot of talk of the Steelers have got the game in Ireland because there's a massive Steelers fan base out there. But then there was talk of the Steelers playing in England with the away team being the Green Bay Packers. And there was a lot of talk around that. But then I think somebody from the Steelers came out and was like, we don't want to lose a home game against the Packers. Why would we do that? Because we'd be taking so much away from Pittsburgh. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I just wanted to hear your takes. I've never really spoken to an American person about
it. I like how you said that too. You muddy the water a little bit. Like it takes away from that. It would almost be like I've never been to an English football game. I won't say soccer. Don't worry, I won't say soccer. But like I've only heard so many great things about it, and it would be like taking the LA Galaxy and throwing them in the Premier League. Like it's not the same thing. So it's cool to offer you that opportunity to experience it, and then oh my gosh, that was awesome.
Yeah,
we're making a trip to the US to see that in person and do something like that. And
I remember when we came to Lambeau for the first time and watching the Packers run out. It was in November, so it was very, very cold. The American national anthem, there was the flyover over Lambeau, and Lauren looked at me, and I was like 30, and I was bawling my eyes out. I was like, this is so incredible. And whenever I've been to London, I've never had that feeling. So that's why I think keep it in America, and we'll come and see you guys.
We love having you here, so that works. That works for us.
So in September, we have some really good fixtures for the Packers. So I want to know, just in the month of September, not scores, but whether you think we're going to win or lose. So starting off on the 7th of September, and UK time, this is a 9:30 p.m. kickoff. The one downside to being an international fan is your Monday mornings are fueled by coffee because it is. I
believe that.
It's a struggle.
I'm a morning news anchor, so when I'm waking up at 3 a.m., it's the same. It's the same situation. We're kind of on the same deal there.
Absolutely. So game one against the Packers, win or loss? What do you think?
So Packers Lions.
Packers Lions. Sorry, yeah, game one.
You're good. I'm gonna say they're winning week one. They're gonna come out and make a statement week one and set the tone for the season there.
Love that. And game two against the Washington Commanders.
That's gonna be a win.
Do you think?
Yep, I do. I think Jaden Daniels is gonna be having a very good year.
I loved Jaden Daniels last year. I thought he was so good.
I was very tempted to pick him up for my fantasy team, but I decided against it. But I think we can start 2-0.
Okay. I might as well not ask you this one because I think I know what the answer is going to be. Game 3 against the Browns. Win or loss?
Come on, man. Come on. 3-0 to start. 3-0 to start.
At what point do you think with the Browns Shador's going to be playing? Because I think by game 3, he's probably running the offense by that point.
They named Joe Flacco the starter, right?
Yeah.
They did. Yeah, that's going to be that quarterback situation, the situation out in New York with the Giants, that's going to be very interesting.
Absolutely.
I would say probably by the halfway point of the season, he gets his shot.
Yeah.
And I think Joe Flacco's Joe Flacco. If he can work his magic like he somehow has been able to do. Who knows? But I think he gets his shot at some point before the halfway point.
Love that. And the last game in the month of September, the one every Packers fan is going to be waiting for, the Dallas Cowboys. Do you think win or loss? And how many sacks is Parsons going to get? Because that's going to make it even more interesting.
Yeah, that sure is. Is it crazy to say we're gonna win out September?
That's not crazy. I'm here for it.
I'm gonna say it, man. I think we're gonna win September. And for the Parsons sack, I'll say 2 against the Cowboys. He's gonna say, "Hey Jerry, you missed out on me, and I'm loving life as a cheesehead." So he's gonna make his presence known in that game.
Love that. We were talking earlier, and I think I saw this on Instagram, that you were saying you've never been over to the UK. You're more than welcome to come over whenever you want, but it's got to be a Manchester United game.
Okay.
You're a Sunderland fan. How's that happened? How's Green Bay become a Sunderland fan?
So I played soccer because that's what in high school. My senior year, I quit American football and I said, I'm going to go be a goalkeeper, and had a blast. Loved it so much. And a good friend of mine in college follows the Premier League very closely. He was a goalkeeper as well. And it was funny though. I never really paid much attention to it in terms of watching other than the World Cup. I would watch the World Cup. That's the reason I actually started playing in high school, was because the World Cup was that year, and I loved Tim Howard. I thought he was the coolest dude ever.
He played Manchester United for a little bit.
Yeah. And so it was, I watched the Sunderland Till I Die documentary on Netflix. And I was like, I feel so bad for this team, but what a cool story, right? Like this small town up in, that's northern England, right? That's
northeast of England.
Like way up there, like right on the shore. And I'm like, it almost, I kind of compare it to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Like it's a very blue collar city.
Yeah.
And very right on the shore. It gets real cold up there, I'm sure, during the winter time.
Very cold in Sunderland. Yeah.
Let me tell you, the frozen tundra, it gets cold. So I'm watching it, and you're really pulling for them. And then you're watching the documentary, and of course it's made at a different time of when the actual season is, when the table's played. But I caught myself like looking at the table and seeing where's Sunderland, and all of a sudden ESPN Plus has a Sunderland game on the app on a Saturday, and I'm like, I'm turning it on and watching it, and I'm pulling for Sunderland, and I'm like, I texted my buddy, I'm like, I think I'm a Sunderland fan, and he goes, oh man, that's tough for you, because that was like when they were down in League One, I think, or
they got relegated.
Premier League, Championship, League One. So
you go Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, and then you go to professional football. But there's divisions below that.
Below that too, and he was kind of explaining that to me, and I think that is such a cool deal that how that works. Like I think that's so fun. But so that was when they were down in League One. And I'm like, all of a sudden they made their way up they almost made it to the championship, and they went back down, and then they made it up, and then they were so close to the Premier League, and they lost in the semis or something. And when they made it to the Premier League, I was so hyped up. I was texting them, let's go. And then I watched the first match a few weeks ago. And I was at my parents' house, and I think they were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I gotta watch this." And they win 3-0. They're sitting on top of the table for I'm like, this is fantastic, man! Like it is so cool. So that's the long answer to your question. But the Netflix documentary kind of hooked me in, and I'm like, it's fun. It's really cool to watch and follow along, and I needed a team, and I'm like, why not Sunderland? So. That's where we're at.
Being an international NFL fan, that now NFL and Americans are kind of getting into the Premier League a little bit. where Lauren is from, Burnley, they're also in the Premier League. And they're kind of an old school mining town. There's nothing there. And JJ Watt is now a part owner of Burnley. And it was a couple of years ago. And people, like her dad, was texting me going, who's this guy walking about Burnley Town Centre, this giant human being? I was like, that's JJ Watt. That's not just any American. That is JJ Watt.
He would be recognized in any city in America.
He's it's crazy.
Incredible. From right here in Wisconsin, man. Right here.
Absolutely. Yeah. To kind of, the last thing I want to ask you on the show is we always end the show, or we're going to, because you are our first guest, is what is your deluded opinion? So what is the opinion that if you were in a bar, everybody would say, Emerson, you are ridiculous, you are stupid, that is never going to happen, but you truly believe it could happen in the NFL this season? Mine is, just as an example, I think the Chiefs dynasty is done. I don't think they'll ever win another Super Bowl. And I will die on that hill. But I get called stupid quite often when I say that.
I think that I've had this deluded opinion for probably 10 years now, and I get made fun of so much for it. But I have always said Russell Wilson is going to be an MVP.
Ooh.
And I don't know if I'm going to go as far to say that, but I'm going to say that Russell Wilson leads the Giants to a playoffs.
Really?
A playoff berth.
Wow.
That is my as bold as possible, and it's just because I think Russell Wilson is the coolest. Nice. I'll always support him as long as he is a NFL player. But that's going to be my. I think the Russell Wilson pulls the Giants out of their hole that they've been living in for quite some time now. And I'm not saying they're going to make a huge run here, but I think that they could maybe at least snag a wild card spot.
So Russell Wilson and the New York Giants are going
to make the playoffs. Yep, that's what we're going to say.
I love that. Emerson, it's been a pleasure, and I've thoroughly enjoyed having you on as our first ever guest. So thank you very much.
You and Lauren were so kind to us here to wake up at 4 a.m. to be on our morning show. I was so excited. I messaged you as soon as I saw the announcement about the podcast. I was so pumped for you, man. So happy to see you doing this, because I know the passion you have for it. So,
thank you very much.
And to be the first guest, that huge honor for me. So I really appreciate the invite. And if you ever need someone to talk about how much Green Bay loves the Packers, I'm happy to join you.
We'll definitely have you on again. So thank you very much for that, mate.
Absolutely. Wishing you all the best. Cheers.